This is Adam, and he suffers from gout. Try Urol. It helps to prevent crystallization of uric acid crystals in gout therapy. Urol, effective urinary alkalinizer for gout.
Hello, I'm Camelia, and this is KiniNews. The High Court has acquitted Muhyiddin of 4 counts of abuse of power involving 232.5 million ringgit in connection with the Jana Wibawa project. The court ruled that the charges were vague, flawed, and unfounded as they did not specify details on the offences committed. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has allowed former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's application to quash the 4 abuse of power charges against him linked to the Jana Wibawa program. The court ordered that Muhyiddin be discharged and acquitted of the 4 abuse of power charges. High Court Judge Muhammad Jamil Hussin ruled that the charges were defective and not in line with the Criminal Procedure Code. He added that they did not reveal sufficient information on what is the alleged offence under the MACC Act 2009. When met by the media, Muhyiddin said today's ruling vindicated his contention that the 4 power abuse charges were politically motivated.
Saya sebenarnya pada awal lagi telah merasakan pertuduhan itu adalah bermotif politik. Sebenarnya saya tidak melakukan apa-apa kesalahan pun, baik dari sudut undang-undang SPRM ataupun undang-undang yang lain.
Muhyiddin added that the charges were meant to oppress him and he would go down to the ground and explain to the people. Meanwhile, Deputy Public Prosecutor Wan Shaharuddin Wan Ladin told reporters that the prosecution has instructions to file an appeal to the Court of Appeal over the ruling. The 4 abuse of power charges, framed under Section 23(1) of the MACC Act 2009, had accused Muhyiddin of using his position as then Prime Minister and Bersatu President for an inducement of 232.5 million ringgit from 3 companies and an individual between March 1st, 2020 and August 20th, 2021. Following the ruling today, Hamzah Zainuddin has urged the Attorney General to review all criminal cases brought against PN's leaders. Perikatan National Secretary General Hamzah Zainuddin has called on the Attorney General to review all criminal cases brought against the coalition's leaders. This follows the Kuala Lumpur High Court's decision this morning to quash 4 power abuse charges against former Prime Minister and PN Chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin. In a post on Facebook, Hamzah urged the AG to review what he claimed were selective prosecutions on Bersatu and PN leaders and withdraw all their charges. Hamzah claimed that the ruling on Muhyiddin's case today proved that the Pakatan Harapan BN government practiced revenge politics and oppression by making frivolous accusations and abusing their power to charge PN leaders in court. Earlier, High Court Judge Muhammad Jamil Hussin ruled that the charges against Muhyiddin were defective and not in line with the Criminal Procedure Code. He said the charges did not reveal sufficient particulars on the alleged offence under the MACC Act 2009. He pointed out among the lack of clarity on the 4 charges was whether Muhyiddin was accused of making an unlawful decision or used his position in an unlawful way. Muhyiddin had in March claimed trial to 4 counts of abuse of power and 3 money laundering charges involving 232.5 million ringgit. He had later filed an application to quash the 4 abuse of power charges. Still on Muhyiddin's case, Attorney General Idrus Harun has announced that the prosecution has gone to the Court of Appeal to reverse the acquittal of the former Prime Minister over 4 abuse of power charges. In a statement, Idrus said that the notice of appeal on the entire decision has been filed today. He added that the prosecution wished to explain that the application allowed by the court earlier was only on the 4 charges of abuse of power under Section 23 of the MACC Act. Meanwhile, he said the 3 other charges on money laundering under Section 4(1) of the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001 are still maintained, and the mentioned date for the case at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court is on September 19, 2023. Earlier, the Kuala Lumpur High Court allowed Muhyiddin's application to strike out the 4 power abuse charges on the grounds the charges were unclear and breached the requirements of the Criminal Procedure Code.
We are often faced with nutrient deficiency needed for our body. This is why I choose G-Sure. G-Sure is the first plant-based and complete nutrition drink that helps to improve the immune system and strengthen our bodies. It has to be Good Morning G-Sure.
Moving on to Najib's 1MDB case, Zeti, who is the 46th prosecution witness in the trial, has denied claims that Jolo visited her and cooked for her family. Former Bank Negara Governor Zeti Akhtar Aziz had denied allegations that 1MDB-linked fugitive Jolo visited her and cooked pasta for the family. She said this during a cross-examination by Najib Abdul Razak's lead defense counsel Muhammad Shafi Abdullah. Zeti was responding to a line of questioning by Shafi where he claimed that Zeti knew Jolo, the business person at the center of the 2.28 billion ringgit 1MDB corruption case against Najib. To Shafi's suggestion that Lo was in the habit of coming to her house on weekends to cook pasta for her family, Zeti disagreed, saying that it was ridiculous and preposterous. It never happened. The former Bank Negara governor rubbished Shafi's claim that Lo was close to her family through her husband, Taufik Aiman, as they were business partners. However, when Shafi made reference to media reports that Lo had claimed to be from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania to insinuate that he knew Taufik, Zeti replied, "If that is the case, I take note." Earlier, she had testified that her husband was enrolled at Wharton in the 1970s. Meanwhile, Zeti also denied the allegation made by former Goldman Sachs banker Tim Leisner during Roger Ng's 1MDB trial in the New York court, where Leisner alleged that Zeti's husband Taufik took bribes from Lo. She said it is all incorrect when Shafi referred to media reports on Leisner's testimony. Zeti is the 46th prosecution witness in Najib's trial involving the misappropriation of 2.28 billion ringgit of 1MDB funds. Najib is facing 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering involving the funds. The police will be recording Sanusi's statement over the incident involving him displaying his ballot paper to the press. This was revealed by Inspector General of Police Razaruddin Hussain. Police will summon Kedah Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Madnor to record his statement for displaying his ballot paper during polling day for the state election last Saturday. Inspector General of Police Razaruddin Hussain said the investigation into the case will be conducted from various aspects, including whether an election offence was committed.
Yang itu kita menyiasat. Bila ada report kita menyiasat. Bagi menuduh atau tidak menuduh bukan di pihak kita, di pihak agensi peguam negara.
According to Razaruddin, the case will be investigated under Section 5(1) and Section 26(1)(g) of the Election Offences Act. He added that the investigation will be conducted fairly and impartially. Previously, Sanusi was reported as saying that he had no intention to show his marked ballot paper to the media before placing it into the ballot box at the state polls. He claimed that the ballot paper was accidentally exposed while he was entertaining requests from the media for him to pose for pictures. Anthony Loke has rejected a proposal by DAP veteran Lim Kit Siang for MUDA to merge with DAP. He said the proposal was Lim's personal opinion and the party has no plans to merge. DAP Secretary General Anthony Loke has declined a proposal by party veteran Lim Kit Siang for MUDA to merge with DAP. At a press conference in Kuala Lumpur yesterday, Loke said that the suggestion is Lim's personal opinion and the party will instead focus on strengthening its own youth wing. According to Loke, the DAP's Central Executive Committee had instructed DAP Youth to step up its recruitment and nurturing efforts to prepare young leaders for the next general election. On Sunday, Lim had said that he admired MUDA's idealism and had suggested the merger. This came after MUDA lost their deposits in all the 19 seats contested in the state election. Meanwhile, Lok said DAP had yet to carry out a post-mortem on its own election performance on Saturday. DAP had won 46 out of 47 seats it contested, with its only loss being in Derga, Kedah. Meanwhile, Zahid has pledged to do more to help UMNO regain the public's trust. UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has vowed to continue serving and increase efforts to help the party regain confidence from the public. This came amidst renewed calls for party reform, including for Zahid to take responsibility by stepping down as UMNO President. On Sunday, UMNO Vice President Johari Abdul said all UMNO leaders must take responsibility for the party's poor results in the 6 state elections last week. In response to this, Zahid said while he takes full responsibility for the outcome, as Johari pointed out, it should be the collective responsibility of UMNO leadership. According to The Star, Zahid said that he was aware of such calls and pledged to work towards regaining the people's confidence with the help of other UMNO leaders. He added that it was not the first time an UMNO president was urged to resign following poor election results. Zahid also told the English Daily that the party needs to address confusion among UMNO members over its decision to cooperate with DAP. He explained that while efforts had been made prior to the state polls, more could have been done. The state polls on Saturday saw UMNO winning just 19 state assembly seats across Negeri Sembilan, Selangor, Penang and Kelantan. The party also recorded its worst performance by failing to wrest or retain any seats it contested in Terengganu and Kedah. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.